It's the morning DNA. I am Aaron Dice, the man of a single black shirt. She is Day Hughes, the woman of a million distractions. And we were on the wrong side, but now we are fixed. And we're here to find out what the morning of May 10th, 2021 is made of. Do you ever stop and think that it's 2021? Being humans of our age who have been around a few years, you know, there was a time, I can only speak for myself. I am older than you. Where I was like, ooh, 2000 is going to be fun. It's going to turn, we're going to see it turn into 2000. How cool is that going to be? And now it's like 2021. It's just like, oh, okay. Time keeps going. That's a thing.
I don't think about time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all.
I live in my moments. I forgot. I mean, I often forget what year it is, what month it is, what day it is. I wake up, I look at my calendar at some point and I think, oh yeah, this is all the stuff I've got to do. And then I just tackle whatever's in front of me. I don't always operate like that. There are some times whenever I am on my A game. I don't even know if I would call it my A game. I would call it my someone else's game that I have adopted for myself that I make work for me for a time. And it goes really well for short speeds.
Right.
But I am getting better at looking ahead. I am getting better at thinking about stuff like that. But yeah, no, my days are just.
It's a great place to be.
Got to put clothes on my kid today. Let's do this.
Yeah, it depends on your reason for being in the now. I think a lot of times, because there is a tyranny of the urgent that can happen where you're always thinking about now because it's the only thing you can think about, right? And that can be unhealthy down the line because then you look back and go, I missed everything because it was just tyranny of the urgent, right?
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is just being present in your present. You're not right? Wrong.
Yeah. So, I'm super present right now. You can tell. Not distracted by chat at all.
Did you hear a word I just said?
Yeah, you were saying some really good stuff.
It's all right. It's all right. It is certainly what is it? A metaphor, irony, something going on. The
something
fact that you weren't in the now while I was talking about being in the now.
No, I was in a different level of now.
You were in a different now. You were just not able to multitask. Yes, I totally get it. I want to know.
I was now adjacent.
No, you were just in a different now, and that's fine. What I want to make sure that we pay attention to, especially is like parents and relationships and all that kind of stuff, is like there is a thing that happens where you get down the line and you're like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
How is my child graduating from high school? How are they, out of the house now? And like, did I take it? So there is something that happens if you're like forced to be in the now in a negative way.
Yeah.
That can have negative consequences. But I don't think that's what you're doing. I think you're just saying, not. I am aware of my present day, which is very important. And actually, I think helps to mitigate that possibility. Because then you are very aware of each moment of your child's life and, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I've always been the kind of person that will also be willing to put everything urgent on the side if something more urgent drops in, no matter the consequences of that. So,
right.
I've, walked away from pretty crazy and great projects because something else seemed more important at the time. We've stopped our radio morning show and people have called with a need because one person's need in that moment was more important than the radio show itself.
Sure.
So yeah, there's things like that. And I believe I'll be able to pay attention, but I do worry sometimes. I mean, not in like a super bad way, just to check myself.
Yeah.
I do work a lot. So
yeah.
And I work from home. So it's easy to just walk over in here and forget that I just need to not, even though I can go quickly deal with XYZ, I need to not. So I'll work on that. But I'm really loving the chat this morning. It's good to see everybody, Nick and JCD and Elizabeth and Ian and Eights, Lolly, Alan, Slab, Lucas. My goodness.
Joker.
The crew is in the house. Chris Batkinson is here. Icy Pope. My gosh. It's going to be fun today.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. We've certainly each prepared a topic that we'll throw out and see if that's something you guys want to talk about. Of course, if you've got a topic you want to talk about or anything you want to ask us, you can save that for the you section of the show. That can absolutely happen then. I did want to mention
Mother's Day love for me. Thank you guys.
I did want to mention a couple of things that happened in the pre-show. Number one, I think I saw Elizabeth say second shot. Just got the second shot. Congratulations.
Nick wants to know how you're feeling.
Yep.
So you guys can. Oh, she already responded. Fine for now. Drink lots of water. Lots and lots and lots and lots of water.
It's so interesting. I didn't really have any second shot symptoms at all.
You drink lots and lots and lots and lots of water.
But I do drink lots and lots of water. That's true. And then some people
hold up your water jug. The water jug.
I've been watching a show in Pennsylvania called Mayor of Easttown. So it's a wooter. It's a wooter jug.
It's a wooter.
Wooter jug. So yeah. So it's interesting how everybody responds differently.
Yes.
So
I also liked this comment that came in while we were chatting from JCD, who says, one of these days I could only assume that Aaron's single black shirt will be the reason that Danae is distracted.
Only if there's a single, I was going to say mustard stain, but there would never be a mustard stain on the shirt unless it came from somebody else.
If you ever ate a mustard, you'll be an old man. You'll be an old man who's lost all your taste buds. If that
and I'll just be like, all right, spicy stuff, mustard, let's do it. That would be the distracting part, is if there was a glob of, something stain. Let's say pizza sauce. That's probably the most likely. A single stain of pizza sauce on the black shirt. You want to shoot a dough today?
I do.
We can do that.
The show of do. Shall we do the show? Can I just say how happy I am that I've kept my space tidy and organized? I know podcast listeners, you don't get to see it, but every week I am tasked with showing my space, and I've done a very good job of actually keeping up with the clutter. There's a couple clutter piles here and there, things off screen you don't see, but it's not crazy.
Yeah. No, it looks great.
No. I mean, it's getting a little out of control.
Off camera, it's just a little out of control.
I forgot that I have this space up there, and I just looked up. I was like, no. Every single space you can't see has something cluttery on it. Every single one of them.
Like a 2x5 rectangle, and it's just full of stuff, floor to ceiling.
No, I need to deal with that. Maybe that's something I can try to do. I have, how we talked last week about goals, and you'll put something in front of something else that you get motivated to do the other thing, kind of trick yourself. I really actually want to tackle that really badly right now. And I thought, no. First I should do my work. Then I should tackle that.
We're done with the show. Danae has some stuff she needs to do. So no, that's good that you want to do that stuff. I'm loving some of these comments. Slab says Aaron's shirt would be stained red with the blood of his enemies. Slab,
hard to see on black,
very well. I don't know that you know me very well.
Oh no. You're pretty evil.
Ronald says, Aaron, the definition of salt is too spicy. Yep, you got me. See, Ronald knows me. Ronald, you know me. Salt is definitely too spicy.
Yep.
I actually, one of the things, this is going to sound strange. I like bacon. I really like it a lot, but it's so salty. It is just because they have to cure it, right? And it's just it's one of those things that I think I would eat a lot more bacon if it weren't so salty. So
I put bacon in the oven, and I could only fit so many on the pan. So then some of it kind of stayed out for round 2.
Yeah.
And Justin came over and he was eating. He's like, this is so good, because it was maple bacon. So it had that sweetness to it. So he's over there and he's just chomping down on the bacon. I grab a couple pieces so I get to eat some too, set him aside. He clears the rest of the bacon. He wants more bacon. So I tell him, go just put some more in the oven. He had never touched bacon before. So he's over there
yeah, it's slimy stuff, man. It's a lot of fat.
It's not slimy. It's the texture of bacon. It's just fat. It's cold fat, but it's not.
You wouldn't call that slimy? What would you call it? How would you define it? What's the word you would use?
Slimy is when there's a film over it, and it kind of.
Okay. Would you just say slippery then?
Yes, I think it would be. Well, kind of slippery. It's slippery. Cold, slippery. I just don't think it's slimy.
To me, cold slippery is like
Is
the heart
slimy?
of slimy, like
Maybe
the
I'm
heart
just
of like, but yes, you're right. There's usually a residue that's kind of inferred with the
with
word
slime.
slimy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I think there is a
But the
little
texture
residue
is
with
so
fat.
different. And then you peel it, and if you're not careful, you can stretch it as well. And so you have to kind of like, so anyway, it was a moment whenever I'm laughing from the other side of the kitchen while he struggles to peel bacon apart. He's like, ah.
Let's see. Ronald suggests oily. Oily is, I can see that.
I think that's in the slimy category.
Right.
For me.
I think
where
it
it's
is
like
slimy.
your finger slips off. See, because there's just enough. This is our show, guys. There's just enough texture on raw bacon that you can peel it away from itself. And to me, that's a clear sign that it's not slimy.
I think I'm sticking with slimy. I think bacon's slimy when it's raw.
This is exactly it. Arguing the definition of slime is the kind of content I need on my Monday mornings. I mean, that's
I don't
what
think
we're
there's
doing.
enough texture. I don't think there's enough texture on bacon to take it out of the slimy category. I think it really is slimy.
No, I think maybe it's like the Venn diagram. It's technically right on the border.
Close. Yeah, it's like the next step is like seal skin or something like that, where
which
it's
I've
just
never
like
touched.
slick.
Have you touched seal skin?
Have you never been to an aquarium and like touched a seal? Like, is that not something?
Something
You live near the Bass Pro thing. I just assumed that they had like seal experiences. I don't know.
No, you're not answering the question. Have you touched seal skin? Or are you making an assumption?
For some reason, I feel like I have. I know I've touched like stingray skin. That's what.
Okay,
that's
that's different.
Yeah,
that's different. Seal. I'm looking up the texture of seal.
Would you say stingray skin is slimy, or is it just like slick?
I would say that it is slick, slick slimy-ish.
Okay, then I don't know how bacon is not slimy, because that's like the same thing. It's not like there's like a bunch of film on the stingray kind of thing.
The pelt of a seal prepared as smooth grained soft. Seal furs have dense fibers with occasional guard hairs that are usually plucked out. So I think it would be hairy. I think seal skin is hairy.
Yeah, it's probably like penguins. Yeah.
Yeah. But you still haven't answered the question. Have you?
I did. I said I think I have. I have. Okay. But I don't. But now I'm questioning myself. So yeah, Slab says, stingray bacon. No, that is not what we're talking about here.
I mean, so the stingray is interesting because it's got an interesting texture. But if you go back the other direction, I think it would feel different. And also it's underwater. And so I feel like the sliminess of it is defined slightly by the water that it's in. If it was out of water, I feel like it would be different. I think it's technically different. Oh my God.
Welcome to the show. I will also tell you, if you're not noticing it, I have been dealing with not Wi-Fi issues, but internet issues. So I apologize if my feed goes a little wonky. It says I have low internet right now, and I've been trying to fix it, and I have no idea why it's doing it, but apologies if I go a little pixely.
Yeah, you're going a little pixelated, but that's all right.
So
that's all right.
I wish I could figure out why that was happening, but I do not know.
Hey, remember when I told you I was ready to start the show, and then I was super wrong about that?
Yeah, okay, I do remember that.
Let's go back to this. Listen,
okay.
Earlier when we were getting ready to start the show, my dog Twix came over to me and did the Twix tap, which is where he jumps up on my shoulder and he starts just pawing at my.
I saw it happen. Yeah.
And I look at him and I'm trying to teach him how to tell me what he needs: water, potty, love. It's really difficult because he looks the same in each instance. It's just prayers and instinct, apparently, that kind of get me through this. So he comes over and he's tapping at me and I'm like, it's still early enough in the morning. He's gone to the bathroom recently, but maybe he has to go again. And I say, do you have to go potty? And Aaron, what did you say?
I said no. I said that is clearly your attention is elsewhere and I want your attention look. That's what I said was going on there. So yeah.
And I thought, how would Aaron know? And so I jump up and I race outside with him to just get him out. He runs down the stairs. He runs out into the yard. He turns around, looks at me, and he like squats and stands up within a split second and runs back in the house. I was like, what did you just do? So you're right.
Oh, okay.
He did not have to go potty. I realize what it is though. Almost every day, if I have enough time, I'll jump in the car and go run through the drive-thru for my beloved tater tots of the morning. And so I think what he was trying to tell me is that I have broken tradition, and he was mad at me.
Yeah, no, I think
he's sleeping now.
Very
so
possible.
Anyway, I just had to tell you you're right before.
All right,
continue.
Cool.
It was really important that I completely derail the show.
Sure. Okay. So you want a shoe a dough again? All right, let's do it. We're going to do the DNA and you. We're going to do a Danae topic, an Aaron topic, and a you topic. Actually, several if we have them. So if you have anything you want us to talk about, any questions you want to ask us, that is what we do here. We hang out with you, answer your questions, talk about whatever's on your mind, and bring you stuff that's on our mind. And so, Danae, you get to kick us off with that. What's on your mind today? What do you want to talk about?
I just wanted to ask you guys what your favorite go-to food is, because on Mother's Day, you would think that there would have been plans, but I was exhausted. Justin was exhausted. So we just went to our go-to frozen pizza
nice.
For dinner. Frozen pizza for Mother's Day. Super okay. And I think we all have that go-to thing that we'll just you know what? I'm just eating this. And this is fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. I wonder if frozen pizza is going to win.
Well, I think pizza will win. I think pizza is that food for most people. It's not frozen pizza for us. It's, quick pizza from one of the quick pizza places like Little Caesars or Domino's or whatever.
Yeah.
We can have a pizza in, 10 minutes, just hop on the app and then go pick it up. And, and especially because our life is a little bit, different right now because, both my wife and I are,
working full time,
working long hours. And so it is more often than not dinner is, hey, what do you want to grab? So for my answer right now might even be Taco Bell. I like the Taco Bell app. It's very easy. And I just run and get really cheap, easy food. And I dig Taco Bell food. And actually what's interesting with Taco Bell, it's fairly low calorie when you consider fast food options. A soft taco is under 200 calories. A bean burrito is 300 calories. It's not, it's not really heavy food like burgers and fries and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I kind of dig the Taco Bell idea. One piece of pizza is 250, 300 calories sometimes. So it's just nice to be able to have an option that fills me up that's cheap and also doesn't diminish my calorie budget. That I try to be aware of. So yeah, that's probably mine right now.
Yeah. We didn't even want to leave the house. It's ordering pizza is the next level up. And we were at the very bottom rung for pizza. So
I will also say, the air fryer has given us a couple other go-tos. We always have some frozen shrimp we can throw in the air fryer and get really great fried shrimp within 10 minutes. So that's an easy one.
Fried shrimp, but you're getting fried shrimp, frozen fried shrimp.
Yeah, but the air fryer makes it taste like you're at a restaurant.
Breading on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't magically just turn regular shrimp.
We're not making a batter and then dipping shrimp in it and then putting that mess in our air fryer. No. My favorite go-to for lunch right now is, speaking of the air fryer, is fried clam strips. Oh my goodness. I'm really digging that. So I'll just throw some of those in the air fryer, and do that for a quick thing as well. Peanut butter and jelly is another big one. I think we've all kind of got that list of, I can make this real quick. You know what the ultimate is, if I'm being honest? It's a bowl of cereal.
That came up in chat.
Yeah, bowl of cereal is the ultimate. Make this in 5 seconds. Tastes delicious. Any time of the day food that you can just go to.
Elizabeth said that. She was like, cereal.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that probably is the honest, top of the list answer because it's so quick, easy, and delicious. So now, lactose intolerant people, I understand there's a difference.
We have to have special milk.
Right.
I also like how JCD was pizza next, and then also added, but peanut butter is a close second. Yeah. That's true too. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's a good one. I've been doing something for my snacks lately which have turned into my lunches sometimes because I'm just working a lot, which is beef jerky and chips. And then one of those string cheeses that is supposed to be for my daughter. So I've been doing that too.
Lots of good answers. Ronald says recently he's become Burger King for my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Burger King person, haven't been in a long time, but I know they have the Impossible Burger now, which I'm hearing a lot about, and people are asking me to try as a super taster to see if it actually, tastes like a burger for me. Have you ever tried like the Impossible Burger or anything like that
No,
today?
I don't. I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's just it's a vegetarian burger.
So it is possible.
It's yes, well they call it the Impossible Burger.
But it's impossible because it's good and good for you.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is like you can't make a burger that tastes this good with vegetables.
Cauliflower,
but I haven't tried
get
that.
out of here.
Is there cauliflower in it?
I'm sure there is.
Oh no.
Are you gonna
no.
wait? Have you had one yet?
I haven't. I've had people say I should try it and report as a super taster, but I'm just not I'm never like thinking about getting Burger King. It's just not something I do. So, but that's the same case for McDonald's, honestly. Like there are just some fast food restaurants I never go to. The only time I go to McDonald's is if somebody else is going there for something. I'm like, I guess I can get an Egg McMuffin. Those are good. Now that they serve them all day.
Yeah, but now they're not special anymore.
Ian says, deli sandwich. Had one for lunch every day of my childhood. Now it's just a comfort. Taco Bell is my go-to fast food.
You know what's strange? Taco Bell was my first job, and you would think that I would be tired of it since I ate it a lot when it was my job. Yeah. And I ate it a lot before that because it was a go-to place. I think every Sunday after church, my mom and dad, we'd all go to Taco Bell. And so we'd sit there as a family, and I've got lots of good memories sitting in a Taco Bell with my parents and my brother, just chatting as a family.
I think they should bring back the old school Taco Bell buildings just for nostalgia. Like I can feel like the design of those buildings in my mind from when I was like in high school and stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but there's something about there are certain foods that I would think you'd be tired of. But at this point, I still crave Taco Bell. I still crave a specific way of putting my food together because whenever I was able to do it myself, I got to make stuff very specifically with the ingredients. So I'll sometimes order the ingredients separate and put it together myself, which is just dumb but anyway.
Well, it's one of my favorite things about the app, the Taco Bell app, is you can just design all your food.
Okay, hey guys, surprise. We're sponsored by Taco Bell today.
Joker says, go-to food, chicky nuggies. Yeah, I get that. I bet they're good in an air fryer. I bet air fryer makes great chicky nuggies.
You know what?
What?
I almost bought an air fryer over the weekend.
You should.
I almost impulse bought one.
Joker says air fryer is the GOAT of kitchen appliances. I tend to believe that. It's pretty amazing.
That's greatest of all time. Just so okay.
Thank you, Danae. Elizabeth says, if I'm at work, it's Johnny Rockets because it's 3 doors down from my store.
I don't know what Johnny Rockets is. I'm gonna look that up.
It's like a burger place. It's kind of like a steak and shake, but with a little more flair.
A little more staken, a little less shaken.
Less at stake, depending on what's shaken. Let's see. Jacob says Cincinnati style 3-ways win as our go-to dinner. Cincinnati style chili over spaghetti with cheese. If you don't know, I do know, Jacob. I do know. I've been to Cincinnati. There are a couple
Cincinnati style 3-ways wins as our go-to dinner.
Chili
on spaghetti with cheese.
Yep. Yeah, the chili on spaghetti thing is kind of Cincinnati style chili. And then, you had the cheese for the 3-ways.
I mean, I do like spaghetti.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's good. Let's see.
A lot of the chat is helping me learn how to ban someone on Twitter, so thanks for that. I mean, Twitch.
You can ban people from Twitter? Wow. That's a power right there.
Caleb says, I'll pop a bowl of popcorn for dinner, but I'm out of kernels, so I'll have to run by the store after work.
Popcorn's a big one for a lot of people. I am not a popcorn fan. Many people are surprised by how much I love movies that I also don't love popcorn.
It gets stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, I really don't like that. It's just
the kernel, when it pops open, it has this tiny little, like almost like a contact lens consistency. It's like a little
kernel casing.
It's really, really skinny. And just like no matter what you do, it's like nestles itself down on your tooth. Like It hugs it.
Yeah.
It gets between the tooth and your gums. It's just like, I love you. And here, I'm going to live here forever. And then for the rest of the day, you're hurting your tongue because even though it's the strongest muscle in your whole body, it can't get it out. It needs help.
We recently had a conversation about the same thing about Butterfinger getting stuck in your teeth, but apparently your tongue can get that out, but it can't get.
It takes a while. It takes a while. It's gotta get in there and get it out.
Yeah,
anyway.
My least favorite thing about that is the only way I ever get those out is with a thumbnail, and identifying which tooth it is and trying to figure out how to get it like in there enough to get. It's horrible. Popcorn, unless it's flavored, is not worth it. Like if there's like a really good cheese popcorn or caramel corn, it's worth it because the flavor is so good. But popcorn itself, popcorn itself is just butter and salt. That's all you're eating is the butter and salt.
And you know what the chat's doing? I
know.
Sure is.
I'm just saying. Like, take a stick of butter, pour some salt on it, and just eat it instead of the popcorn.
No. It is also corn.
Butter and salt delivery device.
It's a popped corn. Remember that part. That is, there's a crunch to it. This one's from Icy Poke. I'm partial to taquitos lately.
Man. Okay. Yeah, lots of fun like tips here too. Ronald's like ramen, but add ham chunks, half the flavor packet, soy sauce, and green onions. Lots of people have interesting ramen recipes that are good ones as well.
Some ramen. Ramen's not the one I thought about mentioning, but
yeah, that's definitely one of my boys loves ramen. He'll just throw some ramen on, and that's kind of his go-to.
Salty.
So. Yeah. Lots of people saying the same thing about the Impossible Burger, that it's okay, but they've had better. And so that's not inspiring confidence on my part.
Ace has an interesting point. He or she says, you have to ask them to microwave it. Otherwise, it gets grease. It gets cooked where meat gets cooked, and then it's covered in meat grease.
which would defeat the purpose for somebody who is buying it for vegan purposes or those kind of things. Although, yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there's all that. Oh my gosh, there's still so much coming in.
Lolly says, I miss chips, chip shop fish and chips. Yeah.
The boy don't play says, now that you mention it, butter and salt is my go-to.
I'm just saying. That's what it is. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Fun stuff. I also really appreciated Caleb's comment. Danae, for the sake of your tongue, please invest in some floss.
Floss does not get popcorn out. I'm sorry. It gets wedged in the gum.
Hugs. Remember,
like
it hugs it.
Yeah, it's like a contact lens for your tooth under your gum. It's like never coming out. This is where I live now.
All right, Aaron,
nice.
What's your topic today?
I think I can throw that up here. What's your favorite part of being mothered? Any good stories? I bring this up obviously because of Mother's Day, and it got me thinking about gender roles. It got me thinking about the idea of what is mothering, what's it mean? What do we classify as kind of things that our mothers do for us? And just realizing that sometimes that's fathers who fill those roles. Sometimes that's friends, significant others. But there is something about that psychological concept of being mothered that I find interesting. And just curious if, there's a part of that you really like.
First thing that popped in my mind was my mom, when I would go to sleep, she would sometimes like pet my back and my hair. And she'd kind of use her nails sometimes to just sort of just gently. And I love that. And I still love that. Iris has now started to, she'll say, Mom, can I scratch your back for you? Mm-hmm. Do you wanna? That's great. Cool. Sure. So she started to, she'll just, she's still getting used to the concept of it. So every once in a while she'll just go and like rake it, but she's learning. And I find that to be really comforting. And she also will come up and she'll just gently cup my face with her hands and she'll say, I love you, Mama. And then she'll just walk off. And it's just like this kind of just a sweet, soft touch. And I feel like that's sort of, I know we're talking about gender stuff too, but like that's like that comforting
as a concept,
motherly stuff.
Yeah, as that psychological concept, whether it be cultural or whatever that we have. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I feel the same about being comforted, right? I think that's a big
Comforted
one.
is, I think, a big one. But I got that from my dad and my mom.
Yep.
So yeah, those are important things. But then I also part of me went to the motherly part where you're like the mother part where like, mom,
now today we can talk about your least favorite parts of being mothered as well, if you'd like.
Before we start reading the chat, I also wanted to give a shout out. This is Iris's necklace she made me this year.
Oh, nice.
And this is the necklace she made me last year. And they kind of, they go together as like a little set. And she did this all by herself.
Oh, that's great.
She put the beads on. And my mother, who is very particular about patterns and colors and things being right, when she gave me the first necklace, she was like, I really tried to make sure that it was even, but she did it herself. And I was like, Mom, I love it. It's great. And then for this one, she told me that she was trying to get Iris to use different colored beads because she's like, oh, you could do something different this year. And that way she has something different. Iris was like, no, this is what I want to do. And I love it so much because it matches. So we got a really good laugh about that because, like, it's okay, Mom. You don't have to influence. She's going to do her own thing and I'm going to love it every time. But yeah.
There's so I have a couple Mother's Day stories that I can tell from this weekend, but one is less a story and just more of kind of what happened. But as happens in our family occasionally, every few years, one of my sons shares a birthday with Mother's Day. And so that's a really interesting, beautiful thing because they're kind of celebrating the same thing when you think about it, right? I mean, Mother's Day is because she gave birth to you and you're having a birthday because she gave birth. Like it's this kind of really beautiful awareness of, both parts of this celebration. You have life and she gave birth. And I don't know. I find it really neat when that happens. So we had a big celebration and ordered out like one of our favorite steakhouses and we all got steaks and, made a big evening of it. So that was really fun. The other thing that happened was my oldest son, who is now engaged, he brought over a little gift bag with some like sweet smelling, soaps and different things, for his mom for Mother's Day. And it was really sweet. But whenever he does this, he always starts the conversation with, just so you know, my fiance made me do this. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to say that. You could just you could just do it.
Just so you know, this is not genuine.
Right. No, it's I don't think that's what he's saying. What he's saying is this would probably have never happened if I didn't have a fiance who was like, you know what you should do for your mom? Like, go give her a present. Which is probably our fault because we are not good like gift people for each other. We've never patterned for them like how gifts are part of a loving relationship. That's just not something we do for each other because that it's not as meaningful for us in that way. But it's kind of funny that that he started to do like more things like that, and then he'll always be like, "Yeah, this is her through me." It's like, okay, you could just do it and not have the excuse.
He's totally earning the fiance brownie points.
Yes,
100%. It's not a bad. Chris says. Just in case you don't like this, it's not my fault.
Yeah, totally. So those were our stories from the weekend. Nick says, my mom isn't the most mothering, quote unquote, but one thing she did a few times was pick us up from school early to go to the movies, and that's how I know she cared. I love this answer because it speaks to what we're talking about, how gender roles become these things that we assume what they mean. And there is something about parenting where just being there for your kids is parenting. Just being transportation is parenting. Just, understanding that this is something fun we can do together. And my wife is better at that than I am. Like, she's the one that's like, hey, let's go to an amusement park, or hey, let's, go do this thing. And I'm like, hey, let's never leave the house. And so like she is the one that is more like instigating fun things. to do with the kids, and that is, I think, parenting. That's love. So yeah, I'm really glad that one came up.
I think you're right about being there in such a huge way. I remember being told it's not about, if you're going to watch TV, sit down and like watch it with them, because that's all that they really want to have. Is they want you to be next to them and be with them. And sometimes, that's a really good distraction. Flip something on. Okay, you watch Tumbleweed. I'm going to go clean the kitchen. And but she's like, please come back and watch it with me. And she just wants to sit and she snuggles with me. And I love it because I just kind of get to chill for a sec. She's right there and she's happy, and she'll reach over and she'll just squeeze me. It's just proximity, I think, is really important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
JCD says, Aaron's topic reminds me of the Campbell soup commercial where the guy tells his wife his mom would make soup when he's sick, and she hands him the phone and says, call her. Yeah.
Yep.
Elizabeth says hugs. Hugs are great. I love hugs. I'm kind of the hugger in my family. So yeah, I kind of mother my children in that way. But yeah, I have a lot of what our culture would say are typically feminine traits when it comes to parenting, which is, again, part of the reason I mentioned this. I think I do, quote unquote, the psychological idea of mothering. I think I do a lot of that with my kids.
You have the tears and the emotions.
Yeah. And the hugs and the how you doing? And how
does this make
back
you feel?
rubs and all that kind of stuff.
Okay,
That's just
but
kind of
what's
right
the
up my
deeper
alley.
emotion that you're experiencing right now? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Which is why I always run away from Aaron's conversations.
This is a great one too. Caleb says, I was homeschooled, so the most motherly thing my mom did was teach me and my siblings.
Aww.
Another great example. Just such good stuff.
That's amazing.
So let's see. Ian says, my dad and I share a career path of engineering and frequently get lost in the details of our own heads. My mom is the best at bringing us back to the moment, kind of like a big picture reminder. That's a good one too. A lot of these things that you see. Ronald says,
hold on. Slenderman says, I'm late. And Slab says, hi late. I'm dead.
We're talking about mothering, not fathering.
I know. Really
you can
funny.
talk about bad puns when it gets to Father's Day. Let's see. Which one was I on? Oh, Ronald says, with my girlfriend, she usually puts my head on her lap and traces her hand on my face or plays with my hair.
I love
usually
that
lulls
so
me
much.
to sleep. Yeah, that's that comforting thing, that restful thing.
I'm getting tired just thinking about it, actually.
That's the like hide under the wings thing. Like you'll see, the little chicks under the the mama wings. And
I was just thinking too, I hope that as the ideas and stereotypes continue to have the lines are blurred as far as what is and isn't allowed from one gender or another, that those things that you loved that were motherly to you coming from male or female, or something that that you can also carry on, things that you get to do that represent that mothering style, whatever that means for you. I love that a lot of it's intellectual too. Like one of the things I learned from my mom was how to stand up against people no matter their rank or whoever they were. Like there's no one that I should be afraid of standing up against and speaking my mind. There's consequences for that. And I definitely hit that a lot and continue to do that in my life. But there's a certain level of bravery where if I felt that there was an injustice or something was being done to me or someone that I considered someone that I cared for, that she always had my back. Marching into meetings at schools and being like, if what my daughter is saying is true, then you're in the wrong, and calling other people out. I learned that from my mom. I learned that brazenness and from her, for sure. Something that I do appreciate to this day.
Nice. Elizabeth says, my mom always made us homemade cards growing up. I never knew where she found the time because she was always so busy with her school kids and church kids. There is also this element of parenting.
I thought she was Elizabeth. This is so dumb. I'm like, wow, she made her own playing cards for you. Nope. Nope.
No?
Cards.
Cards. Just like
a Hallmark card, Danae.
Yes, exactly. A mom mark card. So this is another thing, is the idea of busy moms and busy parents, and the idea of finding time to invest is a big one as well. Lolly, thank you for this. In my family, my mom is the one with the puns and bad jokes. Absolutely. There you go. So maybe Slab should have said, "Hi, late. I'm mom."
There you go.
Done it that way. Yeah. So there you go.
Good stuff.
Some of the ideas, the mothering ideas. I just wanted to take gender stereotypes and kind of turn them on their head a little bit and just say, you can celebrate the idea of what a mom means to you, no matter who it's coming from, over the course of Mother's Day. Also, because not everybody has great relationships with their genetic mothers and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's important to look around us to our community and go, who are fulfilling these psychological roles in my life? It could be a therapist. It could be, anyone who's pouring into you in some of those ways that we normally have considered gender norms of a mother, pouring into a child. So, yeah. So there you go. Ready for the U section, Danae?
I am so ready. Look at me.
All right.
I'm super ready. I'm focused.
All right. This is the part where you get to control the show. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, if you have a question you want us to answer, just send it our way. You can put a little "you" at the beginning so that we know it's coming from you. And it's a question that you want us to answer.
You.
So, yeah.
It's the D and A and U.
That is true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Wrong. Hey, what's your question today, Aaron? Oh, wait, you already asked it.
I did.
I have to tell you.
Well, if nobody has you questions today, we'll just move on. That's fine. We can just
move
talk.
on. Hey, you don't shame the chat like that. They're thinking.
No, I mean move on to the next thing. I wasn't saying
my goodness. We have a next thing. What's the next thing?
Well, we can either finish the show or we can talk about anything else that's on our minds. I don't,
Slab asks, are there any thoughts about your D&D character last week?
Oh, that was on Danae's DandD Therapy podcast show thing.
It's on Twitch right now. It's
just call them shows.
DandD Therapy, where my Dungeon Master friends and I get together and talk about all things D&D. And yeah, we got together Tuesday last week and pulled Aaron in for a chat about the game, since one of our stretch goals is to play a Dungeons and Dragons game together with Aaron as the noob. So yeah, what were your post chat thoughts? I am curious as well.
I think my TLDR on the whole experience is I learned what kind of D&D player I would be, which is I can't be the one who decides everything. I need to be shown what I'm dealing with, and then I can perform as that character, because there's so much to the game that it can be intense and intricate that my brain will immediately want to do it the best and, accomplish, all of the things. And that would be a life change. Like my family would suffer, my career would suffer. So that was just kind of self-realization of, when I do this, if I do this, just put a character sheet in front of me and then I'll go off of it. I can't play much of a role in that kind of stuff.
Which is hard for me because I want to go deep. Like I want this to be something where I get to show you the game. So yeah, I learned some stuff too. And I am a little bit worried about this, but we still
I don't
have time.
think I'm a great match for D&D. I really don't. And that's okay. We all don't match with every, part of life. I think
you would be great at it. I think the initial introduction to it is going to be a little bit overwhelming. And that was an experiment to kind of go, hey, it's like the tour of campus, right? Where I took you on the tour of campus and kind of showed you around.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, there's a lot here. And then it's like, yeah, but just wait until it starts. And then it can kind of grow from there. So I have some ideas, but yeah, ultimately
I cannot see for me being a great D&D player, except in the sense of performing. I think I would have a lot of fun embracing a character and being a character within a situation. But as far as the gameplay part, I would have to disconnect from that, or it would be so hard. Because listen, do you ever want to get to the end of your campaign? Because I would just like, it would take so much. You've seen me play Rumacube. You know how my brain works. Like, that's just a simple put numbers in order game. And I spend 20 minutes looking for the perfect move. Like,
I want you to be in that space. I think it could be really interesting.
Well, if you think that would be interesting, we are 6 people away. 6 members of Team DNA away. $5 a month. 6 more people to say, you know what? I want to support what goes on at Studio DNA.
I want to see Aaron and Danae suffer at the same time in different ways. Here's one from Nick. We know you don't watch trailers, Aaron, but if you had to watch one from the upcoming year, what one would it be?
The movie I thought was going to be the worst, probably. I'd probably, because like I don't want to ruin the good movies. Right. So I would probably be, some movie I'm not at all. It would probably be like some sort of horror movie that I'm just not interested at all. And I'd watch that trailer if somebody made me watch one.
Here's one from Ian. My niece is turning 4 next month, and I finally have the all clear to buy her movies. Any suggestions for a 4-year-old? She has mainly only seen Disney movies so far, and Raya is her favorite.
Yeah.
We chatted a little bit about this too. Like, it kind of depends on the kid. Mm-hmm. So I learned, for example, that my 4-year-old and she just turned 4 in April, so she's really close to the same age. She's really, really sensitive to movies that have an angry face person. Like when the bad guy, when they focus a lot on the anger expression, she gets triggered, like to tears triggered. So it's really scary for her. So she is sensitive to that. So I had her watch.
Which is every movie, by the way.
So she watched Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon. So my recommendation would probably be Shaun the Sheep, just because I just watched it and it's really, really cute. And it also does something interesting with language where it's not all spoken, like it's expressive noises rather than vocabulary. So it's the child is more focused on the visuals of what's happening, and almost even learning about how you say a word can express something in an interesting way. So she really enjoyed that. For her, we have to kind of stop and pause and take breaks at specific points, because a huge portion of the last part of the movie is all focused on this very angry woman. And so it's a little too intense. But those are really, really cute if you haven't tried those yet. Aaron?
So many things to say. Obviously, my first go-to is going to say the Pixar Library, which you probably understand. Paddington movies are so great and so fun to watch with kids. Paddington 1 and Paddington 2 are really, really fun.
Oh, Paddington. Maybe we should try Paddington.
A lot of the Aardman stuff is great. You mentioned Shaun the Sheep. There's also the Wallace and Gromit stuff. There's the Chicken Run is a ton of fun. So those are really great with the youngster. And then you just got to know your youngster and kind of what they're into, and what their triggers are, and also what they really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
But then you've got stuff like from the Lord and Miller camp, where you go to like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is so much fun. So the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movies are great.
Aaron, okay, you're good.
Is that enough? I was just gonna say, like, Lego Movie is in that Lord and Miller realm, and then of course the Mitchells versus the Machines that just came out on Netflix is in that same realm as well. So it just kind of, once you kind of zone into the kind of movie they really like, you'll notice there are other movies like that, from the same producers, that kind of stuff. So that would be my thing.
And Lolly says, ooh, do old school stop motion Paddington. It's an old fashioned kids show where nothing ever happens. I mean, I've been watching the old Disney stuff, and it's like nothing happens in this entire movie. And we were entertained, apparently.
Yeah.
At one point in time.
Yeah. Didn't take much. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go back up to the top because I missed one from Caleb. Okay, Caleb says, if you had to go on a road trip with a younger version of yourself, what age would you choose? Well, I would definitely not choose the age where I was involved in illegal activities, just because that's dumb. So that takes out, let's see, how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I should just go. And I was way too. Last year, no. Let's go with the right before I had a kid, just real recent version of myself where I was, I thought interesting person.
There are a couple ways to look at this question. The actual true answer is I would go with whatever version of myself was the youngest that could also understand the importance of what I was telling them. So that is probably in the 16, 17, range. I think I had enough maturity to take seriously some things. And then I would just spend the entire road trip talking about stocks to buy, sports games to bet on, ways to make, so
That's
much
good.
monetary resource,
Right. Yeah.
generational wealth.
This is why I'm excited to play DandD with you.
That is the actual answer, which is obviously very greedy, but that is probably true. Like if I could talk to my older self, I would say buy Google, man, buy some Google stock, and
get the Dogecoin early.
No, not the Dogecoin. Yeah. Bitcoin, yes. Dogecoin, no. Maybe some Ethereum, but maybe some Litecoin. But other than those three, probably it's just, you're just throwing out a flyer at that point.
I wanted to put this out for Kale. So since you're on Twitch, follow me and my friends at DandD Therapy. I'll put it in the chat for you.
The question, by the way, is how does one even begin to get into DandD from the amazing Kale? Certainly a lot of ways to do that. The more sentimental answer to the question would probably be right before I had my first kid, and just to have a conversation about what parenting is like, what the ups and downs are going to be, all that kind of stuff, I think would be a valuable conversation. So that was when I was like 23. We had our first child when I was 24. So, and I'd been married 4 years at that point. That's right. I got married at 20, y'all.
JCD says, what is a genre that you generally stay away from? And is there an exception to that genre?
Oh, of course.
Horror?
Yeah. Horror. And yes, there are exceptions. Yeah.
Mostly because there's already so much of my imagination that's activated, and the imagery and stuff kind of follows me home, so to speak, or literally, depending on how vivid my imagination is. That is, just for clarification, that's my normal personality. That's how I've always been. I just don't like that stuff camping out in my psyche. So the only exception has been I was asked to watch one for my job, and I had to trust my team that they were putting something in front of me that wasn't really disturbing. And it worked out in that I trusted my team. I watched it, and it wasn't something that was like debilitating. So that's so far the only exception. And I have gone to the theater to see a thriller, which is different. So there's horror, and then there's like this, like the thrilling. And I went, what was it, Aaron? Because it was for Sif Pop, and I was mad at you about it. And I remember being like, I can't believe I'm going to the theater and watching this movie with you. All I remember from it now is that there was somebody crawling underneath the porch. I
don't remember.
But I was not happy with you. I'm still not happy with you, actually.
Yeah, I don't know why I would have made you watch a horror movie.
It wasn't horror. It wasn't horror. It was like a thriller.
Oh, I don't know. If you can remember more details other than crawling underneath.
No, see, that's the other thing is I have to work really hard to block it. And that's the only part that seeped out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, that is really general, though.
That's my same answer. That's my same answer. I don't deal with the bringing it home thing as much as it's just like, this is a waste of my time. because I don't gain any benefit from the feelings that this movie wants me to have. Horror movies, I don't gain benefit, personal benefit or joy from being scared. It's just not something I'm interested in. I don't gain benefit or joy from being grossed out. It's just not something I'm interested in. So yeah, horror movies that play in that realm specifically are not great. There are plenty of quote unquote horror movies that I like. I understand, some people play genre police about where you categorize movie, and some people go, well, that's not horror, that's a thriller, and whatever. Genres they're so nebulous anyway, but I know people classify Psycho as a horror movie. I think it's a genius film, and I've watched it many, many times. Then there are things like It Follows that has such a beautiful metaphorical message to it that I respect it on such a level that, the scares aren't the thing for me. It's just the idea of metaphor and what it's trying to teach us. Get Out is that way, has such a beautiful metaphor and thing that it's trying to do. So yeah, there are certainly many examples of horror movies that I enjoy.
There you go.
Quote unquote horror movies. So,
quote unquote.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. Genre. It's a weird thing. I just see a lot of people in the chat telling me how I should play DandD.
I know, it's so exciting. They're invested. Yeah, I don't see.
Just 4 hours of Aaron talking out which way to go, left into the wood or right into the mountains. See,
I do think that it's interesting though, because in the fantasy world of Dungeons and Dragons, you can experiment with what it means to do something completely outside of your norm. And
sure.
And that's part of the fun of it, is just like in life, sometimes it's not about the right. I love about acting. Not about the right answer. It's about experiencing whatever choice you make.
Well, that's what I love about acting. That's why I'm saying the piece I would connect to is the performance piece.
Right, of course.
That is the piece I would connect to.
So that's the part that I want to spend time with you about.
If I connect to the gameplay part, it's just like over. It will dominate my life. So I have to figure out the performance part and then
But that's part of why I don't want to build a character for you and then just give it to you, because that to me is gameplay. Whereas building a character background and story is something that I think would be fun for you to be involved with. Like, I maybe can make the stats up for you, but we need to figure out who the person is, and I want you to be involved in that personally. But yeah, we can talk about that again later. I know not everybody likes talking about DandD, so.
Well, no, I have concerns, but I am more than willing to do it, and I think I will have a lot of fun. I really do. I think I had a lot of fun having the conversation with you and Ian on your show. So, I know there's fun to be had. That can definitely happen. The Amazing Kale says, you have the chance to bring back one gadget or invention to a specific time period. What do you choose, and what time period do you go to?
Okay, the first one in my mind, I'm gonna skip that one. Hold on. Gadget or invention. There's so many.
Sure, of course, yeah. Lots of ways to go.
Okay. I want to do. Okay. Aaron, do you have one?
No, I'm still thinking. You're still thinking. I could start throwing stuff out if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
GPS would be a really fun one.
Electricity, though. You think about GPS doesn't require.
No.
Okay.
You can run that on batteries.
Okay. Batteries don't exist in every time period. I guess I'm thinking about sending mine back pretty far.
Well, but I'm saying it comes the batteries are in it. Like when you take it, I mean, if you want to say it'll run out of batteries eventually, that's fine. But you could figure out a way to power stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going without electricity, that really limits the technology that would be fun to take back to,
I know.
To other places.
Because there's so much that's dependent on other inventions.
Yeah. What kind of technology doesn't require power of some sort? Wheels, fire, pulley systems. They figured that stuff out. It was electricity and power and the harnessing of power that really allowed technology to boom and thrive.
like I'm like you take the oh my gosh, I can't think of words at all. It's a type of skillet.
Okay.
Anyway, my brain, guys.
A type of skillet?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm thinking about sending it back
like
to the caveman.
Your
right?
choice is like a non-stick pan for the caveman?
No. The other kind. The kind that's really
Guys,
like...
It's called Teflon.
What's it called?
Teflon?
No. No. The really heavy one that is super...
Cast iron?
That's the one.
Well, that was invented in the middle.
No, listen, send it to the cavemen. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that would be interesting just to see what they would do.
You might as well put Teflon on there. You might as well.
No, that stuff wears off. Give them something that'll last a lifetime. That's interesting
amazing
to me.
It's amazing. The invention I'm going to send back is the cast iron skillet.
No, the first one that I thought of was for ladies. There's some stuff that's been invented that's really helpful now that I would send back. I would send that back and be like, here you go.
Yeah.
A little gift from the future.
No, but that's a really good one. That
was my first one. I was like, should I say that?
Birth control, even? Like that's an interesting one too.
That requires, like, you have to reverse engineer that stuff to keep creating it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying that you like only what you can put in your pocket kind of thing?
Then what would they do with it? Like,
yeah.
You could send back an antibiotic, which was mentioned in the chat by Slab, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But then so you just give them one dose and then they have to figure out how to create it again.
Well, you can help them. I mean, you're bringing it back. You're going.
You send the note. Like,
well, no, you're going back. It says you give a chance to bring back. You're going with this invention back to the past.
No, thank you.
So.
Sorry, ladies of the past. You're on your own. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. No, those are some really good thoughts.
At the stake.
Medicine is a really great thought. Well, it depends on when you go back to. That's part of the question. That's part of the question as well. When you go back to, I think there is something, the fun answer is your phone, your cell phone. Take it back because it is so many different things. It is the GPS, it is pictures, it is video, it is like all these things that it will blow people's minds, but there's not a lot of use to it. So I would hope I would be more practical with my idea, which is why I would think maybe something like automobile or, electricity itself. Maybe you just take electricity and you move it back a couple hundred years and you see what that does, So
I'm just looking at I'm looking at some of the things. Thank you, Wakad, for cast iron and Slenda, and then Slenda saying they would hit each other on the head with it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Slab says cast iron was invented in the 5th century BC. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kale says
years before.
Flex tape.
It's not a bad idea.
Flex tape would change the game.
Yeah, any kind of construction technology would be certainly a big deal during certain time periods. Would advance civilization in certain ways.
Man, I got peanut butter, catapults, vaccines, smartphone to any time period where they wouldn't be called a witch. I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. The wheel. Matt says, don't forget you have to take satellites too for some of that stuff. For the GPS stuff.
For GPS. So. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Or the phones or any of that. Yeah, there's an infrastructure.
You could bring it back and be like,
wouldn't have.
Cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything except for play whatever game is installed on the phone as long as the battery lasts.
Whatever picture you have on your hard drive, you could show. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Did you talk about this one? Ian saying solar panels integrate them as the first source of energy. What's interesting about thinking about those kind of alternate histories is the idea of whatever comes first is then advanced first. And so there is something really interesting about the idea that if we had discovered energy through the sun first, how advanced that technology might be by now in the same way that electricity has advanced or automobiles have advanced or those kind of things. So, that's a really interesting thought, Ian. So there's certainly examples of other technologies being invented that take over the firsts, but yeah, you'd wonder maybe we would figure some
And that would be awesome.
storage stuff out for solar energy, because the problem is not the actual energy of the sun. The problem is our ability to store it for long periods of time.
Battery cells and stuff.
Yeah. So
Matt says, I want to take back a band and play current music for different time periods to see their reaction.
Oh, that is burn at the stake kind of stuff. Like there were riots. I forget which classical composer it was, but generally the piece is now considered a classic. It's beautiful. It's this beautiful classical piece of music. The first time he premiered it in one of the opera halls, there was a riot. Like people literally got up and started like storming the stage, and it spilled out into the streets. And it's just like music, man. It's people aren't ready. People aren't ready. Has to happen in its time.
Yeah. And there are some, and I was watching a stream the other day, and it was like a 2 Russian composers or something that were literally wanted for their music, and there was no lyrics. It was just music. So yeah, you'd be in danger zone, friend. Chris Batkinson says, people always say the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I'd probably show some Mesopotamian bakers what a bread knife is. And then the amazing Kale responds, yo, this bread is so symmetrical.
It's amazing.
JCD asked the Rite of Spring.
That might have been it.
1913.
That might have been the one. Rite of
Stravinsky?
Spring. That might have been the one. I was thinking it was in the 19th century, though. But
it says the riots at 1913 premiere of the Rites of Spring was one of the most famous scandals in the history of arts. After 100 years of retelling, there are few accounts of the night from the composer Igor Stravinsky.
Stravinsky, yeah. I think that's it. When was that? When were those riots? Was it early 20th? Okay, so it was early 20th century, not 19th century. Yeah. Yeah, it just blows my mind, you know. That was just over 100 years ago. People rioted because of classical music. Like, it's wild. It's just wild. It's just wild.
Yeah, I'm now reading about it. I shouldn't though, because I'm doing something right
Hey,
now.
listen, watching somebody read something on the show is,
I also looked up flex tape because I wasn't quite sure what that was. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Is flex tape that's a lot of damage? Is it that guy, or is that something else?
I have no idea. It's a super strong waterproof tape that can instantly patch, bond, seal virtually anything and can be applied on a dry or wet surface.
I think it's that's a lot of damage guy. Is the flex tape guy. Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but are you not familiar with that meme? That's a lot of damage meme?
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right, one more. Let's do one more. Tyler says, if you could lead any school clubs, what would you lead?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that seems like an easy one for Danae.
Yep.
Clubs. What classifies as a club? So like basketball would be a sport.
Well, like a gaming club or something where we just try different kinds of games.
Is theater a club, or is that just like an extracurricular activity? Because it would probably be that. I was very, very much into theater. I was in chess club. I don't know that I would lead chess club. I did a lot of fun stuff like that. If I was inventing a club for high school, maybe like a puzzle club, something like that, where it's like you do Sudoku and other famous puzzles, but then you also do like these rare types of puzzles that are fun. There'd be some, cryptograms in there, all sorts of like fun puzzle stuff. That would have definitely been my jam. I would absolutely have led a puzzle club at school for that.
A puzzle club. Would there be rules? No, Stan, you can only put one puzzle piece in. It's not your turn. Different.
That's a jigsaw puzzle. I'm talking about like, math puzzles and that kind of stuff. So JCD has confirmed. That is correct, Aaron. He's also the one who will cut a boat in half. Yep. That's a lot of damage. That's what he says. You want me to say again? That's a lot of damage.
Wow. I feel like we should watch this. Hold on.
It's a perfect imitation. That's a lot of damage.
Okay. Let's see.
He stabs a bucket like with a knife and then puts the flex tape on.
Screen. This is very dangerous, as I have not actually. Okay.
You may have seen a few people test Flex Seal on a bucket.
Yeah, that's the guy.
What is happening?
That's a lot of damage.
See, there he is.
He just Bowie knifed that thing.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a lot of damage.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. The things
there
you
go.
learn on the show, guys. The things you learn on the show.
Thank you, guys. We love you. Thanks for hanging out with us on Mondays and some days. Yes, we will eventually do another someday show. We are busy people, and so that is why we committed to make sure we're here every Monday, because we do want to make sure we hang out with you at least one day a week. We want to hang out with you more, and we hope to continue seeing that happen. If you want to know if we ever go live on a non-Monday, just subscribe to whatever platform you're using to watch us on, whether it be one of our Twitches, whether it be YouTube or the social media site that shall not be named. Wherever it is, subscribe there, follow there, and you should get some sort of notification when we go live for those. So appreciate that. All the stuff down below. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, at Aaron Dicer, at Danae Says. You can join Team DNA, as we mentioned. We need 6 more people at $5 a month to join Team DNA to get to the 41 members of Team DNA is what we're looking for this next level. And that will be the DandD level, where we will do a D&D campaign live for you. That again is $5 a month at patreon.com/studiodna. And I think that's pretty much it. We love you guys. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next Monday or someday.